Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we welcome you once again on this Wednesday evening from a rather cold Johannesburg. It's in conversation with myself, Inayat Wadi, on this Wednesday evening. And as we normally do, we have a panel discussion. We welcome our viewers, our listeners on the various platforms on Salam Media. Now, tonight's discussion is extremely important. It's a crucial discussion because looking at South Africa, looking at the Palestinian resistance in South Africa, going legal, and we've seen it from South Africans serving in the IDF, participating in the genocide, to dockets that appear to be collecting dust in the offices of the National Prosecuting Authority and appears to be impotent an organization in dealing with the matter that goes against legislation in South Africa. And recently, we've also seen a post that has gone viral about 100 IDF soldiers being repatriated back to South Africa. And the question we need to ask is, do we want them here? Do we want them to face the full might of the law? And adding to all of this, a crackdown on pro-Palestinian activists with legal action, Cape Union Mart taking the Palestine Solidarity Campaign to court over genocide, funder claims, where the retailer has approached the Western Cape High Court to seek an interdict restraining local organizations like the Palestine Solidarity Campaign from labeling them as supporters of genocide. We're also seeing individual activists being targeted by certain individuals, the pro-Zionist lobby, some of them in the form of public figures, government officials, and this is becoming even more brutal as the genocide has been in Gaza. And this is the reason why tonight at Salam Media, we bring you a hard-hitting discussion with some of the fiercest voices in the resistance. We are joined by Professor Usuf Chikte, PSC coordinator, Advocate Shameemah Salie from the Jama-ah Party, Uzair Mohamed, founder and director of Cape Town Intifada. And as we see, my guests appear on screen right now. Sister Shameemah, ladies first. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Inayat, and to the co-panelists and to all the viewers. Shukran for having us this evening.
Yes, and obviously, Prof. Usuf Chikte to you as well. Assalamu alaikum to you and welcome.
Walaikum salam. I'm happy to be engaging here tonight with you, my fellow panelists and the viewers, and I look forward to a productive meeting. Thank you.
Well, we certainly do, and to you as well, Uzair Mohamed. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, Brother Inayat. Shukran for having me on the show, and wa alaikum salam to our co-comrades on the screen and to our listeners and viewers.
Yes, Advocate Shameemah, I'd like to actually begin with you because, looking at where we are at this point in time, and as I mentioned in my introduction, the whole Palestinian resistance in South Africa going legal. Now, it's going legal in more ways than one. We know the whole question surrounding the IDF soldiers, the dockets that have been prepared, and I mentioned collecting dust in the offices of the NPA. Now, this could have been a major game changer, not only for South Africa, but globally, because I'm not too sure whether there is any action being taken against citizens of countries serving in the IDF. And now that we hear about 100 being repatriated, and perhaps, if you could just start off by providing us with an insight or unpack the workings of the NPA. We know the NPA is under pressure. Shamila Patoy is under pressure at this point in time on many high-profile local cases. Now, the whole question of IDF, this is now a case that is international, a global game changer, for want of a better term.
Okay, assalamu alaikum once again to all the viewers. I think this is a very important discussion and it is very vast. So having worked in the National Prosecuting Authority from 1998 and in the justice system ending off about in 2015, the problem that I'm sitting is with the justice system that I entered into in the NPA, etc., was much more effective than the current justice system that we have. So we are sitting with a situation with a National Prosecuting Authority, with a justice system that where the wheels has fallen off a long time ago. We're sitting with a situation that we have ministers who are placed in a position who doesn't even have the necessary qualifications in a system that has a rippling effect in every system in an organization and on every entity in our country. So you sit with the National Prosecuting Authority, who is currently under Shameemah, and you are finding situations where simple cases it sounds simple, but we've got the constant theft, we've got murders, we've got rapes, etc., happening, housebreaking. And how many of these cases the criminals come in by the one door and out by the other door, one due to lack of evidence, due to lack of proper skills of your prosecutors, and an overloaded court structure. Now, if we in South Africa, if we cannot deal with the more easier cases where the law has been tested and tried, how is South Africa going to be dealing with more complex matters and matters which has not really been tested? And that is what we find where the more complex matters are coming and where laws has not been utilized effectively. South Africa has of the best laws that one can think of, but implementation of those laws has been become problematic due to lack of skills, an ego that is within the relevant departments, and that is creating a rippling effect on our matters that is both in our country and obviously if you look at the matter with regard to the IDF soldiers that has not been arrested. And for that matter, let's not just think about the IDF. Let's think about all the soldiers that is fighting without authority in other countries. As we are sitting here, I'm going back, 15 years? Probably about 15 years when there was start of dockets already being laid at the NPA with regard to South African citizens that is fighting in Israel, let's put it that way, and committing crimes against humanity. Nothing has been done. These cases has not been thoroughly investigated. Application of the law has not taken place, and that is setting a precedent, because if I look at 2024, there was approximately 73 identified IDF soldiers from South Africa that was committing crimes against humanity. These dockets has been placed before the NPA. Shamila Batoy is completely aware of these matters. No communication, no feedback, matters gets withdrawn, no response on why matters are being withdrawn. And at this point, we have over 100 known individuals currently serving in the IDF. These entities now wants to return after the blatant display of the bombing people, of killing and massacring the people of Gaza, being part of the starvation of people, killing and murdering women and children. And they want to return to our country. Now we have to look at our law. The law is very clear that this is a criminal act, it's crime against humanity, and they should be charged, duly charged. Also, if anyone has received naturalization in our country to become a citizen, that citizenship, in terms of law, is supposed to be removed from them. And to be honest with you, even the South African Jewish Board is fully alert to the fact that this is a crime. But they're also relying on the failure of our country to implement law to say, now precedent has been set, so these entities should not be charged. Our country, our government makes undertakings, but they fail to fulfill these undertakings. We know that the former Honorable Minister Naledi Pandor made it very clear. Dirko's made it very clear. It is in the media space, statements in the media space, where they duly noted any South African found to have served in the IDF would be criminally charged. What has happened to date? These entities are currently in our country after having massacred people, and nothing is being done. We have written questions before Parliament. We've had debates before Parliament. We've had oral debates inside of Parliament where the situation with regard to the IDF is constantly brought up. We've brought it up in our justice portfolio as well. And the sad and the most sickening part is how they divert from actual response in their failure to arrest these IDF soldiers. So is it a lack of skills in our prosecuting sector that they are incapable to apply law, that they don't have the to, because this is what it appears. We've gone for the ICJ matter, which is wonderful, even though we do know it has exposed a lot. But right here in our country, where we have laws that we can apply against these entities, we are not utilizing those laws effectively. And that is shocking. And the failure of Shameemah Batoy, who absolutely knows about this, because I was on a justice portfolio where both myself and MP Nazir Paulser, we also raised it. And it was a complete evading of a response on why they are not arresting and prosecuting these individuals from South Africa who's serving in the IDF.
Shameemah, in fact, I think, you've obviously put a lot into context. And let's just get to Prof. Usuf Chikte. Prof, clearly from what Shameemah is saying, that there is a total disconnect that we are seeing. On the one hand, we've got a government that has taken the matter up with the ICJ, the ICC, and as Shameemah mentioned, this is not something that has happened since the genocide had started unfolding. We are going back many, many years. If my memory serves me right, right up to 2013, when some of these dockets were prepared, and one of your colleagues, Martin Jensen, and I had a discussion on this very platform as well, where he raised major concerns to the point that even considering legal action approaching the High Court to force the NPA's hand to at the very least, open those dockets, look at those dockets.
Yeah, thank you, Shameemah. As Advocate Shameemah has given an excellent overview of what is taking place, and what it is in effect is that the NPA has failed in their prosecutorial mandate to live up to what their mission is, and without consequence, and they do it with such abandon that it leads one to the conclusion that they are unable to implement the law fairly and without prejudice and without fear and without favor. So what is making them so fearful? And why are they not doing it without favor? Is there anything else happening? It raises the question whether there is anything else happening which favors them, that they are not implementing the law in the country. I mean, it's an inordinate delay. So, Shameemah Batoy, we wonder. I mean, we are operating in a perceived very corrupt system, and one wonders if it's not fear, because there is genuinely need to be fearful if you see what is happening to the ICC prosecutor, Mr. Khan. Are they under threat? If they're not under threat, are they on favorable terms with those who this kind of thing benefit? And it erodes these kinds of questions, erodes the confidence that we have in judicial administration. So Shameemah Batoy is part and parcel of the erosion of that administration. We must also remember that this is a global revulsion at the lack of impunity with regard to this at governmental level across the world. It's okay in the UK as well to go to the army, to go to Gaza, to kill people, to come back. But at a music festival at Glastonbury, people are up in the political class is up in arms if Mr. Villain repeats the slogan "Death, death to the IDF." They go into an apoplexy. But the actual killing and starvation of children in Gaza gives them no concern for it to be actionable and for something to be prosecuted. So we're dealing with a global issue here as well. Why is there such an inaction? We've tried every little bit in the legal book that we could. And what is it when law and order falls down? It is a danger to us if these IDF soldiers roam around in South Africa When they come here, they have their holidays here, and it puts us in danger. And the complicity of the Zionist network to host them, and to glorify them, and to continue to recruit people because of the impunity with which they walk around is something that is of deep concern. And people are being threatened by them. They, in most cases, armed. And what must be done, as Advocate Salie has mentioned, we must also look at those who aid and abet them, provide them with the necessary means to stay here in South Africa, to cover them up, and to shield them from prosecution. If there's a crime being committed in the country, if you suspect somebody committing a crime, it's your duty to report on that crime. And the failure of the Zionist networks to do that makes them complicit in these crimes as well. I'll stop there for the time being.
There, obviously, someone like yourself, a young man, and boldly considered and renowned as an activist as well. I know you've mobilized so much in terms of solidarity action for the Palestinian cause as well, recognized as one of the most vocal and determined pro-Palestinian youth leaders in South Africa. The mere fact that we've seen this failure on the part of the NPA, yet we see another picture starting to emerge in South Africa as well. And you obviously being, one of those in terms of being arrested, even on Quds Day, where you were unjustly detained for having a smoke popper with yourself as well. How do you read into the situation in terms of the duplicity or even hypocrisy, for want of a better term?
Well, assalamu alaikum once again. Look, as Advocate Salie and Prof Chikte said, it leaves us to question, is the justice system failing us, or is it heavily infiltrated? When I was arrested on the day of the Quds Day protest, they haven't even told me I've been arrested. They apprehended me, they kidnapped me basically. They pulled me into a van and just told me that they're going to question me. Once I was in the precinct, they told me I'm being detained, I'm being arrested. It was a scuffle between myself and the police. I asked them, what is this for? And one of them admitted it was politically motivated. And like Advocate Salie and Prof Chikte said, these cases by the NPA has been running, and it leaves us to question. When an organization like the South African Jewish Board of Deputies takes a case to the Equality Court, how does it get seen to first when there's a massive backlog of cases? How are we waiting for years for outcome and for results, but these organizations, or maybe I can call them rogue elements, are getting seen to first within the justice system of South Africa? And I am witnessing a major political shift within South Africa. To my peers, I always say, you think you're free until you speak the truth, and once you speak the truth, you will see how free you are. And what we are witnessing in South Africa is a total infringement on human rights.
Yes, Jazakallah for that, Uzair. Shameemah, let's just continue from what Uzair is actually saying in terms of priority cases, and like Uzair mentioned, these are cases that have been around for many, many years, yet we are starting to see a pattern emerging. We know the whole question about Cape Union Mart and the PSC as well. And I'm sure that there are many other cases. Uzair made mention of the Equality Court, giving priority to the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. And just to see how powerful these lobbies are in terms of making sure that their cases are being heard ahead of many others. And just to try and understand, because we know that there is a powerful lobby working. That lobby is not only with the Zionist Federation or the Jewish Board of Deputies. There are many other prominent figures, even politicians. We're talking about people serving in local government, in provincial government as well. And I think you're seeing a lot of that happening in your part of the world, in the Western Cape.
Yes, Uncle Inayat. Look, I would just like to speak about my side of the world in a little bit with regard to Johannesburg, because it seems to be I end up being involved and assisting in many cases. That being said, we obviously know that we have a certain political party that has got a lot of funding. Actually, quite a few has got a lot of Zionist funding. And that is strengthening a lot of their matters that is also going the court route, whether it be on education, whether it be the equality court, whether it be in other matters where they are basically affiliated to, they have a large amount of funding. So in the Equality Court, if I speak under correction, currently there's about 3 or 4 cases facing pro-Palestinians that has been lodged by the Zionist entities and their supporters. So that is in the Equality Court. Now, the Equality Court has a major backlog on a lot of matters. What we're finding is those matters are kind of just sitting one side, where certain matters are being pushed through the Equality Court, and it's been given certain amount of media hype and a certain amount of pressure, because we are also fully alert to the fact that the South African Jewish Board, and I think it's the Zionist Board as well, had a meeting where they had legal people in to guide them and explain to them their rights with regard to what happens on social media, how they should deal with social media, and how they should deal with matters. So they are obviously also working towards how they can utilize the law effectively. And this is the problem, because with our people, we are facing Islamophobia, we are being threatened, we are facing many attacks and slander on social media. And yet, even though the Equality Court is available to us as well, we are not utilizing the Equality Court, and we should. The same way that these entities are utilizing the Equality Court in order to victimize and threaten our people, we need to do the same thing. So that is on the aspect with regard to the Equality Court. If you look at the laws, the regulations, and what matters can be before the Equality Court, we will find that there is so many of the matters that where we are facing threats and victimization that has all the elements noted of matters that can be seen by the Equality Court. That's the one thing. The other thing is with regard to the Loftus matter. I don't want us to forget that particular matter, because even with that matter, it is being dragged through court at the moment. And that matter shouldn't even be in court, considering the instructions that was given, how people was brutally attacked at the particular soccer match. Peaceful entities who are totally peaceful, instructions was provided for them to be removed, and that was the attack, and the brutality was something that came out of the apartheid days. That being said, when I was in the Sports, Arts and Culture portfolio as a former member of parliament, one of the questions that I was raised, amongst many others, was with regard to the Loftus matter and questioning SAFA on the instructions that was provided for the removal of those people. I'm still waiting for SAFA to respond. So bear that in mind. Then let's go to the situation with regards to the pickets at Cape Union Mart. For nearly 2 years, we've had picketers at Waterfront, Claremont, and at Canal Hawk, peacefully picketing. No issues, no problems. All of a sudden, we had a gentleman who is a councillor in the city of Cape Town called Councillor Paul Jacobson. And he was deliberately, and there's media posts about it, he does videos about it. And on his social media posts, it is clear how he's attempting to aggravate pro-Palestinian protesters and picketers. They don't want them in Sea Point, they don't want them at Cape Union Mart, etc. So there's been a lot of attempts at agitating protesters. So at both Canal Hawk and at Waterfront, we have never in the 2 years witnessed the pro-Zionist come out to either one of these places to picket. In the sparse space, I would say approximately 2 months, it might be slightly more, we have suddenly seen the visibility and deliberate agitation and aggressive Islamophobic attacks by these entities at pickets. And there's a deliberate attempt to stop peaceful picketing. And look, boycotts does have an impact. And this is something I would love the viewers to listen to. Boycotts, divestment, and sanctions. This is what was done to South Africa in the time of apartheid. And this is what needs to be done by us in order to mobilize and to have effect and to stop this genocide that is being committed against the people of Palestine. So it has got an effect, and it has had an effect on Cape Union Mart. People has become more conscious of their purchases and is not purchasing at the particular store. So what is going to be the next step? The attack of the supporters at these pickets. One, they've tried to stop picketers through the council. They've lodged complaints with the mayor, with JP Smith, etc., to stop picketers, to stop protesters in Sea Point. That didn't work. So what is the next step? To go through court systems. And this is currently what we are seeing. Don't tell us, for example, this guy, Philip, he doesn't want people to speak about him committing genocide or being involved in genocide because obviously it is impacting on business. But there's enough proof that I'm not going to speak too much about that evidence because it's out in social media. He's received awards and everything for his support to Israel, and that will be taken up at the necessary forum. But this is also what we're currently seeing at court, to attempt to victimize and silence people. Even the Loftus matter with the actions of the police. I'm fully aware of continued victimization by SAPS even when the Loftus 5 appears at court. So this is what's happening. I thought apartheid days is gone. And I think Prof. Usuf will also speak a little bit about the apartheid bill, the private members bill, that we're trying to make sure that the Treaty of International Suppression of Apartheid is domesticated on an urgent basis, both in South Africa, and it should be domesticated in every country and utilized against crimes against humanity. Because this is what we're seeing. Apartheid is not dead. Apartheid is still very much alive globally. In South Africa, it is very much alive, still in our country. And we are also under the marginalization and oppression of old. It is still happening in different forms by the same role players. And sadly, those people who are supporting these role players and place the backup roles, like our communities that should know better. It is a very sad state of affairs that they are still supporting these entities, but it is still happening. And on political dynamics, our people they seriously need to wake up, because they are part and parcel of the problem we're facing. And Uncle Inayat, here in the Western Cape, we are under so much danger from gentrification, oppression, marginalization, crimes on the Cape Flat, etc. And also, they are trying to squash our education and our ability to understand and to learn and to uplift and empower our people. So what happens globally is having a rippling effect for us right in our country. And I mean, how do you explain to the people in our country, the most marginalized people, how their decisions is going to impact on their offspring? So I'm going to leave it for this so that Prof and Uzair can also, step in a little bit. Shukran.
Well, we certainly will get them to step in, but we're going to go for a quick break. I'm going to put all three of you on hold. We'll be back in a minute or two.
Thank you.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, bakkies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name. Valley's Motor Spares.
Kids these days are smart, and when you're competing for their attention against their smartphones, you need to make smart choices, like using Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil in every meal you make. It's naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether you're cooking, frying, or baking, you get the great tasting results that'll get their attention faster than the latest app. And if that doesn't work, change the Wi-Fi password. Sunfoil. Now we're cooking.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
For too many communities across Africa and the world, access to clean water remains a dream. At Africa Muslims Agency, we dig deep, reaching into the heart of the earth to fill the cups of those in need. Sponsor a water well for 16,500 Rand, or a borehole in Afghanistan for 55,000 Rand, or Africa for 65,000 Rand, or any amount. With water comes food, health, education, and growth. An ongoing reward with Africa Muslims Agency.
Yasin Badat Financial Advisory. Are your financial goals feeling out of reach? Yasin Badat Financial Advisory is here to turn your aspirations into achievements. Our dedicated team, armed with a history of success, is ready to guide you through the complex nature of financial and investment planning. Whether you're a seasoned investor or new to the game, our personalized solutions cater to your unique goals and risk appetite. Trust in our commitment to transparency, integrity, and excellence. Ready to unlock a world of financial freedom? Partner with us today. Call Yasin Badat Financial Advisory at +27 33 346 2071 or visit www.yasinbadat.com. Yasin Badat Financial Advisory, guiding you to financial success.
Make a conscious choice. Sip for change and support Palestine Drinks Africa. With every can, you help end the genocide and stand in solidarity with Palestine. Choose between our original or sugar-free options available in a case of 24. Every sip is a step towards justice. Every purchase a powerful message of unity and support for the Palestinian cause. Contact 082 888 1440 or 082 7739 556 today and be part of the change. Palestine Drinks Africa. Sip for change. Liberty for everyone.
Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Well, we continue with our discussion in conversation with myself, Inayat Wadi, tonight, right here on Salam Media with my guests, Professor Usuf Chikte, Advocate Shameemah and Uzair Mohamed. Prof. Usuf, let's just continue, and I just want to focus a few minutes on this whole issue surrounding Cape Union Mart. Now, I know, you've actually become a household name as far as Cape Union Mart is concerned, very, very vocal, and together with your colleagues at the PSC, as Shameemah mentioned, 2 years non-stop, relentless, having a go at Cape Union Mart. And also when I look at the applicants obviously being Cape Union Mart and their executive chairman, Philip Crowitz. But when one looks at the respondents, these are again individuals that have been targeted. 5 individuals have been mentioned, the 6 being unidentified protesters. So obviously there's a huge question mark there as well. And the 7th being the PSC as well. And also in terms of, how vocal you have been personally, Prof. Usuf, with regard to Cape Union Mart, and also previously, we know that spat you had with the French ambassador as well in Cape Town. So all of this, telling us that, as much or as powerful as the Zionist lobby may appear to be in South Africa through the Jewish Board of Deputies or the Zionist Federation and any other individuals or organizations who support these pro-Zionist lobbies, we've got a voice. And this is a voice that needs to be raised, a voice that can never be silenced, Prof.
Thank you. I think the tribute needs to be given to all those persons right across South Africa who week in and week out stand outside the Cape Union Mart buildings, enterprises, and protest and alert the people about the genocide in Palestine, the genocide in Gaza, the starvation. And I think that is the story. And that is what we are objecting to, and that is what we are protesting about. We want a stop to the war, the genocide, the Holocaust of the Palestinians by the Israelis. And we recognize that Zionism is a criminal enterprise, and the Zionists who back this up in South African organizations must be held to account. Yesterday, Francesca Albanese, the commissioner on Palestine, issued a report on the complicity of corporations and how that needs to be stopped just as much as we need to not collaborate at the governmental level with the Zionist enterprise, which continues its expansionism, land grabs, pogroms, and killing of people. And they said that, and they mentioned Glencore. So within the range of corporations that we've identified is Glencore, Cape Union Mart, Rheinmetall, Clover as well, the diamond industry, and other kinds of trade. And we focused, as you said in the beginning, now of almost every Saturday on Cape Union Mart. Why have we done that? We have done it simply because the Palestinians have asked us to do everything we can to stop that complicity of corporations. So there's evidence, there's a picture that appeared in the African Jewish Reporter where the owner of Cape Union Mart stands proudly next to a convicted criminal, not a convicted criminal, a person indicted, Mr. Netanyahu, for war crimes and for starving children, starving people, proudly. He hasn't associated himself from that. And it was on the occasion of being rewarded and acknowledged for personally contributing a significant amount of money to the Kerem Haysot Foundation, which evidence shows is complicit in the genocide of the Palestinians and in Gaza. So, and we are alerting people, we're educating people to say that this is wrong, that companies have responsibilities. They cannot evade their responsibilities as corporate citizens in aiding and abetting a genocide, that they cannot evade their responsibilities in upholding international law. They cannot evade their responsibilities in terms of their own statute. They cannot evade their responsibilities in terms of the Apartheid Convention that we have signed up to. So it's all that within that. That is why we're boycotting Cape Union Mart. And we have, those of us who have been in South Africa long enough, lived in South Africa long enough, we fought very hard for our constitution in terms of the right to protest, the right to assembly, the right to boycott, and the freedom of expression that we enjoy, and artistic freedom of expression as well. So we maintain our hard-fought right to do paintings, to put out slogans, and to engage in an unarmed, peaceful protest, and we won't let anybody block us in terms of that. And that is precisely what Cape Union Mart is trying to do, and Mr. Philip Kravitz is trying to do, to impede, obstruct, and undermine our constitutional rights. And what he's doing is an assault on our constitution through lawfare. And the second thing is that he's doing it through a well-known tactic. He's a corporate billionaire bully, attacking working class people in Cape Town for expressing the constitutional rights. So what is it? And it is classically known as a strategic lawsuit against public participation. It's known all over the world. Big corporations and bullies and the oligarchs use that to attack, to assault freedom of assembly, especially with poorer working class NGOs, people, because they want to drain their money, they want to tie them down, they want to divert them, they want to frighten them, they want to intimidate them. And intimidation is what we have experienced. Mr. Kravitz, in a video which has gone viral, has indicated he's received several advisory opinions on what to do with these protesters. In one of the videos, he's indicated somebody advised him, some group advised him to kneecap the protesters. And he quickly added, no, but that is not what we will do. We have very little assurance that these oligarchs will not do that. And we need greater assurance from the law to do it. That is one example to the lengths that they've gone to intimidate us. We also have evidence around people where individuals in Cape Union Mart has phoned the people, the protesters at the workplaces. The surveillance and the monitoring of the protesters is also illegal. And we know of people who've been phoned at their work and where the managers have been told such and such a person is protesting, and we will work against you, against your company, if you do that. And this is a very chilling thing, and it's very frightening. We have such a case now, yes, in one of our respondents. They also amplify these falsehoods in the South African Jewish Reporter, where they say risibly that our peaceful, unarmed protests constitutes a threat to them, a physical threat to them. And it is something which we take very seriously, because over the past 18 months, we've been protesting peacefully, unarmed. There has not been a single complaint lodged against our protesters, a single contravention of the Gatherings Act, a single contravention of any law in South Africa. On the contrary, those police officers at these protests, and Advocate Salie and Uzair will testify, they've congratulated us in terms of how we conduct ourselves, because we have done it for 18 months. And why suddenly they are bringing this on us? The answer to that question lies in the fact that there's a global campaign, a worldwide campaign, because of the shifting of the narrative around, because of the lifting of the mask on Zionism. We've heard now in England and in the UK that Zionism cannot uphold itself in terms of the myths that it has created, that they are a respectable body. They are a bunch of criminals. It's an organized criminal gang that they operate on that kind of basis, and they've resorted now to lawfare. And this is what we need to counter. In Cape Town, there has been several incidents of this. Uzair mentioned the Equality Court. There are several cases there in which our groups have been involved, standing strongly in support of Palestine because they want to silence us. There have also been cases at university where they have aided, financed universities, professors, and those in the Zionist camp to stop and to break the constitution in terms of the contract that they signed with funders to support the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of Zionism, of anti-Semitism. And that is the crux of the matter. They want to get that into legislation, and we are opposing that, and they're trying to build a series of case law where they can entrap us to do that, and we mustn't fall for that. We stand and we yield to nobody, because we fought very hard in South Africa for a non-racial and non-sexist constitution, an inclusive constitution. And what they are trying to do is to exceptionalize a particular social formation And they want to say that, no, we are exception, we are, and they manufacture victimhood in order to bring about exceptionalized, unequal legislation in the country to further their aims, and none of them have opposed apartheid as is their duty, being a South African citizen, a moral obligation. None of them have done that. Apartheid or genocide or the starvation of the children in Gaza and everybody else, none of them have come out against that. Yet they can come out against us as wanting to stop that. And that is the anomaly that we are dealing, more than an anomaly that we are dealing with here. So they've done it at the university level. They harass us. They want to retain spatial apartheid. Whenever we go into Sea Point or into the formerly white areas, they deride us. If we are alone, they've attacked many people, especially if they are alone. There are cases around that. And some of these cases are not prosecuted with the same kind of resolution as well. But everything here, what I say, must be underlined by the fact it's about Palestine. It's because we oppose the genocide, we oppose the annexation, we oppose the starvation of children, and we want a ceasefire. And that is what we are trying to stop, because globally, things are falling apart for Zionism. I'll stop at that point because I'd like to continue it with some other points as well.
Yes, Prof. Let's bring Uzair back into the discussion. And Uzair, it is clear, and we're hearing, and the message is actually very profound, it's very, very strong, that we must be unapologetic, whether lawfare is going to be used or in any other form that will be used to basically silence the pro-Palestinian support in this country. And I think I just want to quote what you sent me earlier on in terms of the infringement of rights. And I've heard Prof. Usuf Chikte speak about rights, speaking about the Constitution, but also at the same time, you talk about the rising state repression, the cost of standing for Palestine in South Africa with all this crackdown. And Shameemah and Prof both spoke about the signs, and you also make mention of the alarming signs of apartheid 2.0 emerging in our very own backyard.
Exactly. And what we're witnessing, especially over this year and a half, is a major doxing operation that is placed on individuals, the working class, where they are posting individuals on Twitter, exposing their names, exposing where they work. And we are witnessing these individuals getting fired from the companies. I am victim to one of those cases. And just like Prof. Chikte said regarding Cape Union Mart and Philip Kravitz, right? You know, he says, we cannot boycott him because he has no support, no links. He doesn't support the army, IDF. But I would just like to make one mention. In one of his videos, he mentioned that he's part of the Karen Hayesod movement, which is also known as the United Israel Appeal, right? And this institution was established in 1920 to support the Zionist movement. So the founding was established by the World Zionist Congress in London in 1920, and it was established to create the apartheid state of Israel. Now, I'm pretty sure our audience knows that we host the motorcades into Sea Point and so forth. And so far, we've seen, the director of South African Jewish Board of Deputies, Daniel Bloch, make inflammatory statements about our motorcade, saying that we are the provocateurs, we are provoking, we are the ones looking for violence, we are the ones that are jumping out of our vehicles and causing the violence. No, that's not the case. The concerning part is that J.P. Smith is just listening to one side of the story, but he's not coming to the other part of the community and saying, okay, guys, what is the case? What is happening? I mean, ask Daniel Bloch, why was a woman almost driven over for carrying a Palestinian flag? Ask Daniel Bloch, why was a woman slapped during one of the motorcades? Ask Daniel Bloch, why was a Muslim woman stabbed in Sea Point for being Muslim? Ask Daniel Block, since we've been standing up, or ask JP Smith, since we've been standing up for Palestine, why has there been a rising hostility of Islamophobia? As we know in South Africa, Islam has a rich heritage in South Africa. We have rich history. We have never been in the way of anyone. We have never been in the way of anything. We never came to the Cape to colonize the Cape in the name of Christ or anyone. It was us who came in as slaves and not oppressors. So, they signed petitions against our motorcades to have it stopped. And what is so funny is that when these directors of the South African Jewish Board of Deputies, I don't have to call them Jewish Board of Deputies, I have to call them Zionist Board of Deputies, when they run and complain to the mayor attends to them. Yet on the Cape Flats, every 20 minutes someone is dying. Yet in Nyanga, over 30 days, 350 shootings have been taking place. When we go into these motorcades, we see more police presence than ever, than anything else. When a murder is committed on the Cape Flats, it takes it takes 3 hours for one van to come out. Why don't we see the same equipment and infrastructure being used in Sea Point within our Cape Flats? And that clearly shows you apartheid 2.0 is coming. It clearly shows you we are moving in a direction or in a way where the people of color, the majority, the Cape Flats, is being oppressed from their rights, being oppressed from speaking the truth. And when we speak the truth, we are being financially disabled. Shukran.
Yes, shukran for that, Uzair. Shameemah, and also in Uzair's own words, what Uzair is saying is this is not just talk, it's a warning and it's a call to action, and action is required. And let's just spend a little while, a few minutes, talking on how do we respond to the lawfare, because this is obviously taking the entire struggle to a completely different level.
Okay, so Brother Nayat, and to the viewers, I want you guys to understand that these threats by the Zionists has been coming on for a very long time, and many of us, our eyes has just been closed to it. They work in a very different manner from the apartheid that we were accustomed to. So even what you are seeing on the Cape Flats and in many area with regard to substance abuse, alcohol abuse, marginalization, our people not being employed, etc., etc. That's all part of a particular game plan that we have been ignoring. With regard to David Block, his name comes up so often. In 2022, we had, and I think Prof. Chikte will also advise you about that one, we had the Zionist Independence Day, and at that time, I was a councillor in the city of Cape Town, and I was, a complaint was lodged against me because they were not happy with my protest at this particular event, and yet it forms part of my party, it forms part of my freedom of expression, it forms part of my rights. So they failed in that particular case. One example. In 2020, it was either 2023 or early 2024, I was contacted by a counselor in safety and security. And I was advised that certain political parties they are targeting us, right? And the reason they're targeting us is because of our pro-Palestinian support. And law enforcement was advised about this particular support. I'm not going to name the counselor now, but we'll leave it at that. But this is J.P. Smith's portfolio, right? And I remember in that one, I indicated, why are you advising me about this? Because we as Jama-ah have an individual in safety and security. Was the meeting held with everybody? And the answer was no. This person wants to give me a heads up. So coming with regard to the law and our stance, the answer I gave to the person is as follows. I'm a pro-Palestinian supporter. I support humanity. I will not be silent. If there's a target on me because of law enforcement in any other political party, and I found all of them up whose names you've mentioned now, let me explain to you, whether it's a picket or a protest, I will take my Palestinian flag, I will go up to law enforcement, and I will go and greet them. And that includes SAPS as well. The person was shocked. When I went into the city of Cape Town, I think it was a week or 2 weeks later, the person tried to agitate me by saying, oh, be careful, there are cameras and stuff here in the city, right? And this is on floor number 6. And I said, let's go for it. Let me tell everybody, I am pro-Palestinian. I support Palestine. I'm against humanity, and I will never support against the people of Palestine. Let it be known. So firstly, without fear, favor, we need to stand up for that which is right. Because remember, ultimately, our rewards for every deed, even including our standing up, those whose voice has been squashed, whose voice has been silenced, while a genocide is being committed, our rewards is with our Creator. This is our form of martyrdom. If anything happens, right, we only fear our Creator, no matter what religion we are. Our fear and our faith needs to be that strong because, Brother Inayat and viewers, this is beyond anything that we have ever imagined. This is also a test of our faith in our Creator. Do we fear our Creator or do we fear the person? Do we fear our Creator or do we fear the Zionist board and the Jewish board and their supporters? More than ever, this is an indication for us to unite, to mobilize. We also need to know that if I'm now talking with regard to Islam, if one of my brothers or sisters are harmed or anybody is harmed, we all feel. We all feel the pain. We all feel the anger. We all feel the harm. And in those situations, more than anything, no matter what our differences is, this is the time to unite, to ensure that the law is just and fair. This is not the time where we back down and say, no, I'm scared that I'm also going to appear in front of the court or the Zionist is going to do that to me, whatever. The fact that we are so vocal makes it more difficult for them to challenge or attack us. And if we do it in unity, can you imagine the strength we have? Not just as South Africans, but globally. So, for example, there is this situation where they say the sixth respondent is all the people that they don't know, like the unknown names. Guess what? Who everybody needs to appear and say, we are number 6. Fill the courts, fill the streets, come and charge all of us. Because that is where we got to be at. But are we unified as a ummah? Are we unified enough to stand up and to mobilize? Alhamdulillah, in Western Cape we're moving, and alhamdulillah, I just want to also say, shukran to those who participated in the march at the Soweto March. Well done. And I'm glad to see a little bit more mobilization happening in Johannesburg and in other areas. But this is the time, people. We need to think not just about us. What is the legacy we are leaving for our offspring? We need to catch a wake-up call, Brother Inayat. And I must say shukran to you for constantly providing us with a platform to voice these concerns. Because if we can educate 1 or 2 people out there to understand the danger that we are facing, the imminent danger that we are facing, we are one step closer, inshallah, to find the solution and to fight this global apartheid that we are facing, the global marginalization, and the global enemy that we are all facing, which is under the form of this evil, barbaric, satanic system called Zionism.
Yes, Shameemah, I see we've already reached the end of the broadcast, but let's just engage for a few more minutes and we'll go around the panel. Prof, just some thoughts from your side as well. And, you know, when Shameemah speaks about being united, being mobilizing as well, but also at the same time, we need to be very, very strategic as well in terms of a think tank, because what's happened is we find these challenges taking a different dimension, being taken to a different level with lawfare, and we may see a lot more challenges arising as well. And just to look at the pro-Palestine movement through activism, through organizations, through lobby groups, through individuals, politicians that support the pro-Palestinian cause as well. Just let us just talk, you know, strategically, how should we be placing ourselves so that we are able to mobilize even on a greater scale and even in larger numbers?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to conclude very briefly on a very optimistic note. our experiences has been that there's been an outpouring of support for the PSC and for the boycott of Cape Union Mart, especially now that the court case has been leveled against us. The people on this, the panelists here were some of the first to have rallied to that call. So there is unity, there is growing unity. We must strengthen that unity, and the basis of that unity is our horror at what is happening in Palestine, in Gaza, and we must unite and regroup ourselves with respect to that. Just a small thing. It is more than just a boycott of Cape Union Mart. Salah Media is a very different platform. Do you know that we've uncovered that 3 newspapers, the Sunday Times, the Citizen, and BizNews, they have sent their reporters to Israel. And you know who funded them? The South African Jewish Board of Deputies. So that's the kind of thing that we must be alert to and against, and the narrative that we must change. And we are at a tipping point of changing the narrative. And I think we're very close to winning the battle of the mind to stay on the side of justice, equality, and freedom for Palestine and for Cape Town and for South Africa, and for all the apartheid spots in the emerging apartheid 2 version that Uzair is talking about. Thank you.
Well, shukran for that. Uzair, I'm going to give you the opportunity to have the final word and just some final thoughts in relation to the discussion that we have been having.
So just to briefly, I know we're over time, just to briefly discuss and just to conclude, we, the Cape Town Intifada, the PSC, we are united. We will not back down regardless of the lawfare used against us. What we have known is that public narrative is stronger than any lawfare, any organization that has been funded millions. As we have seen in New York, the mayor, the Muslim mayor, has won an opposition party of $25 million. That was funded $25 million. He has won that opposition party. So my message to the youth, don't back down. Don't let them intimidate you. Don't let them, even if they try to arrest you, don't back down. Stand up for what is right. Even if all the arrows are pointed against you, still stand firm. And that's my message. Assalamu alaikum.
Shukran for that. Well, Shameemah, I see you disappeared for a minute, but I'm glad you came back. And I will obviously allow you to have the final word.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. I'm not sure you can hear me. The sound went away. But I think that between Prof and Uzair, I think we have said it all. The importance of unity, in not being afraid. We only fear our Creator. That's it. This is much bigger than all of us. If we are watching what is happening globally with the genocide that's being committed, people are currently being starved to death. We have witnessed this. We've watched it. Today, I watched a video of 2 young people walking and being blown to pieces, targeted and blown to pieces. Those type of actions, it destroys us. It breaks us. We cannot be sitting silent while these atrocities are happening, because today it might be in Palestine, it might be in Sudan, it might be in many other a country, but tomorrow it will be here. And you know why? Because they walk amongst us. They are already threatening and intimidating us right here. Are we going, especially those of us who came from apartheid, educate the youth, let them understand where we came from and why we will not go back to that situation, and the resistance amongst us as South Africans, that we will fight not just for South Africa. Our hearts has expanded that both locally and internationally, we will fight apartheid, marginalization, and any form of crimes against humanity. Shukran.
Well, shukran for that to you, Prof. Usuf, Chikte, Uzair, Mohamed, and also to you, Advocate Shameemah. We say Jazakallah khair, and to all of you for taking time out. And, this obviously is a discussion that we need to continue with at some point in time, but we certainly will be following developments, particularly with regard to the legal challenges that stand before us at this point in time. So we will be following those developments as well. And these are the type of discussions that we need to have. Shameemah, you alluded to the fact of the Soweto March as well. And I think what is important is, to a large extent, as solidarity, we have been preaching to the converted. And it's just amazing how hungry people are to be part and parcel of the solidarity movements. They want to know more. They want to be educated. They want to be informed. And the Soweto experience has taught us one major lesson. We need to take the struggle from our traditional, areas of support, and we need to take it further, and I'm sure across the length and breadth of South Africa. And that was a very, very powerful, a very profound call that was actually made in Soweto as well. But to all of you, once again, Jazakallah, we thank you for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Shukran. Assalamu alaikum. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Ameen.
Ameen. Thumma ameen. Jazakallah, Prof. Usuf Chikte, Advocate Shameemah, and Uzair Mohamed with us this evening, right here on Salam Media, and once again highlighting the dangers that we face in this country as well. There are forces that are still working very, very hard behind the scenes, and particularly when it comes to the matter of Palestine. And Uzair actually summed it up also very, very well, saying that this is just not talk. It's a warning, it's a call to action, and it is live. It is happening right under our very own noses. And with that, I'm leaving you from myself and the team at Salam Media. Jazakallah, shukran for taking time out for watching and being with us this evening in conversation with myself, Inayat Wali. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.